Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. I hope you guys are having just a fantastic day of it. Yes, I do. Hi, Kimber. I love you too. It never fails. I have a dog in my face, or a dog, or a cat, or both. Whew, it's just insanity. Cats and dogs living together. So, as, ooh, goodness. Let's try some focus. Meow. Well, maybe not. As you guys are listening, I think happy, warm thoughts. My internet. My, water has, frozen in the well, which is fantastic. Hey, there, I can see me. And, hi, Linda. And, it's just, yeah, awesome. Just fan-freaking-tabulous, honestly. Oh, yes. Just fantastic. So, yeah, warm thoughts. Warm, cozy, warm thoughts. Yes, lots of warm thoughts. So, as we're thinking warm thoughts, we're being broadcast live on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, Tune In, and TalkStream Live, and also in on YouTube. If I did everything right, everybody should be able to hear me, I think. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, the like, subscribe, you know the drill. You guys are pros at this. You know exactly what to do, right? And no matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hello. Either leave a message in the chat room or send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. Also, if you want to support the show, you can do the etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio. That's MTN for mountain. And I also have the Patreon. That's patreon.com/TheSpacesBetween. Of course, no spaces in any of that. And also, if you just want to, oh dear, I hit the wrong button, support my radio habit, because sure, why not? I've got a radio habit. You can do that by just going to the cash tag, and that's $TheSpacesBetween. The call line is open tonight, so that number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in UK, you can dial 44203-393-2871. And let's see, I think that's all. Just about. If you have a minute, check out ialife.com. ialife is the unleaded version of the ayahuasca, so it won't give you the trips. However, it will be paired with the CBD oil to giving you the best of the best, so that support your immune health and everything. And yeah, it's just good stuff. Just very, very good stuff. And for those of you who are in TFR, just so you know, I am not connecting to the chat room, so if you are in there and you're asking me a question, I'm trying to get the message, I promise. It just keeps saying, hey, it's taking longer than usual to connect. Please refresh and check back later. I didn't do it this time, I promise. Here in the world, February 14th is rapidly approaching, if it hasn't already dawned upon you. And February 14th is celebrated around the world as St. Valentine's Day. And so I got to thinking, there's so much focus on St. Valentine's Day. What does it really mean? I mean, there's a whole commercialism side of it. It's like, hey, talking about Saint Valentine, who was probably Catholic and did nothing. Or, are there any pagan or witchy type reasons to celebrate Valentine's Day? And then we'll talk about some of the love deities, love gods and goddesses, and then just some other things. And for those of you who are not actively seeking that special someone, or either because you already have someone, or you don't want someone, which I get. They're I spent several years being very, very alone and single, and that's definitely a change when you have to start sharing opinions and thoughts and space with another person. Have fun with that, Carlton. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. No, I'm kidding. No, Carlton can do it. He knows how to farm. He'll go outside and weed some veggies. Yeah, it'll be good. So those of you in the chat rooms, hi's. And I can only see one list, not all of them. Let's see. I do have a MeWe page. It's Paisley Wild, I think is what it is. If y'all want to check me out there, you can. Honestly, MeWe is kind of the proverbial one more thing, so I'm not in there very often, but it is a thing. I'm working on it, I promise. Or you can always find me on Facebook, which that's kind of a thing. Lucky says we should make every day a Valentine's Day. If you're in a relationship, why just one day devoted to romance? But then again, she's not in a relationship, so what do I know? Well, here's the thing. If you are in a relationship, and it's a healthy relationship especially, what's wrong with honoring that bond on a regular basis? Romance, or whatever it is, shouldn't be saved up for just one day a year, for crying out loud, guys and gals. It's something that we can do any time, honestly. And sometimes the spur of the moment gestures have more meaning and value than those that are plotted out, such as Valentine's Day. And Chris Jarvis says being single is overrated. It's complicated. I'm Libra, so I see both sides of the coin there, guys. But it's there's some freedoms with being single that you just don't have when you're a couple, honestly. But when you're single, you have to remember there's love of self. Actually, whether you're single or coupled or thrupled or whatever the hell it is that you're doing, love of self is a real big deal. Self-love, big deal. You need to make sure that you can take care of you and that you are affectionate with you, because if you are not affectionate with you and take care of yourself and do what you need to do to help you, then it makes it harder for you to be in a relationship if you don't know who you are. So we're going to talk about that too. So, Valentine's Day occurs every February 14th. Generally, U.S. because, hey, we are the kings of capitalism and commercialism and all those isms. And, yeah, another reason to spend money. Yep, right. But candy, flowers, gifts are exchanged between loved ones. And all in the name of Saint Valentine. So, who is he? And why do we celebrate Saint Valentine's Day? Sorry, I tripped on a cat. Trying to scooch the chair up. So, Valentine's Day actually started out as Lupercalia, which is a welcoming of spring, by the way. And people just gave away cards saying, "Woohoo! Spring's coming! Yes!" So the legend of Saint Valentine. And this is from history.com, so this isn't just, some random person saying this. Well, it kind of is, but it's history.com. Valentine's Day, the patron saint, of course, shrouded in some mystery. We do know that February is celebrated as the month of romance. And St. Valentine's Day, as we know it today, contains vestiges of both Christian and ancient Roman tradition. So who is St. Valentine and why is he a part of it? So, the Catholic Church recognizes that 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred. One legend contends that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome, and when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families, he outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Other people insist that St. Valentine of Terni was a bishop who was the true namesake of the holiday. However, he also was, beheaded by Emperor Claudius II outside of Rome. Off with their heads, right? Other stories suggest that Valentine may have been killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons, where they were often beaten and tortured, according to one legend. And an imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first Valentine greeting himself after he fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter. And she visited him during his confinement. So yeah, that's the very first prison romance there. And before his death, it is alleged that he wrote her a letter signed "From Your Valentine," an expression that is still in use today. Although the truth between the Valentine legends is quite murky, the stories all emphasize his appeal as a sympathetic, heroic, and most importantly, a very romantic figure. And by the Middle Ages, perhaps thanks to this reputation, Valentine would become one of the most popular saints in England and France. So yay! My chat in TFR showed up. Hello, Nightshade. Let's see. So, there were some pagan origins to February festivals. Shocker, right? Pagans. I love pagans. I love being a pagan because we have festivals all the time. We like to party it up. So, yes, I have no water coming out of my faucet, so there's apple juice in my water bottle. I just need my binky and my juice bottle now. Sorry, don't mind me. So, Valentine's Day is okay, let me start over. While some believe that Valentine's Day is celebrated in the middle of February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's death. Hey, Gemini. Or burial, which occurred right around AD 270, so before, current era, however you want to call it. Others claim the Christian Church may have decided to place St. Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia. The Celebrated at the Ides of February, or February 15th, Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. So, Lupercalia, let's see, it was kind of more of a bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking, and coupling in the hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility.
For all its popularity, history doesn't give us any guarantees as to the origins of Valentine's Day.
Oh, my stars. Whoops. I click on something and noise happened. I'm sorry, guys. So, let's see. Apparently, Lupercalia happened right about 6th century BC is when it started. So King Amulus ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews, to found Rome. And they were thrown in, his nephews and founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. A servant took pity on them and put them in a basket on the river instead. And the river god carried the basket and the brothers downriver to a wild fig tree where it became caught in the branches. And there's more about that if you wanted to learn more about the start of Rome. And anyways, so the twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife and learned their father's trade. After killing the uncle who ordered their death, they found the cave den of the she-wolf who'd taken care of them and named it Lupercale. So Lupercalia supposedly took place to honor the she-wolf and to please the Roman fertility god Lupercus. So here's some ritual sacrifice here. Yeah. Lupercalia rituals took place in a few places. The Lupercal Cave on Palpatine Hill and within the Roman open air, a public meeting place called the Comitium. The festival began at the Lupercal Cave with a sacrifice of one or more male goats, which is the representation of sexuality, and a dog. Don't know why, but a dog. After the sacrifices were performed, the foreheads of two naked Luperci, or Luperci, and they were the Roman priests, were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. And then the blood was removed with milk-soaked wool. And then feasting happens afterwards. So the Luperci cut strips of hide from the new, freshly sacrificed goats. And then they ran naked or mostly naked around Palpatine, whipping any woman within striking distance with the thongs of goat hide. And many of the women welcomed the lashes and bared their skin to receive the lashes because it was a fertility rate. Because the lashes were supposed to cause them to be more fertile. And then also during Lupercalia, men randomly chose a woman's name from a jar to be coupled with them for the duration of the festival. Often the couple stayed together until the following year's festival. Many fell in love and were married. Marie, yes. This is just one particular tradition. So after a while, nakedness was kind of frowned upon. And the festival became more chaste. And eventually women were whipped by fully clothed men. And Caesar apparently started kind of saying, no, we can't do this. So, yeah, that's just the start of Lupercalia. So pagans, are not always soft and fluffy. Occasionally we are odd. We'll just leave it at odd. A lot of things can fit into odd. Yeah. So Lupercalia was celebrated Ides of February, middle of February. Let's see. So today, Lupercalia has survived the rise of Christianity, but was outlawed because it wasn't very Christian by the end of the 5th century. And then Pope Gelasius, whatever it's Italian, Latin, and I just don't know. And declared that February 14th was going to be St. Valentine's Day. Mostly because, so, time out from that, mostly a lot of the Christian holidays have a lot of coincidence in timing with a lot of pagan holidays. Again, I've mentioned this in the past, and I'm going to say it again, probably again, it's more in the future, is because the church was trying to convince the pagans to convert to Christianity, and they found that the best way to do that was to start off, hey, we've got this big building, this church building, you should come here and celebrate your festivals and stuff. And then over time it became normal to go to the church to celebrate things, and then, hey, well, you know what, it's not Lupercalia anymore, it's Valentine's Day, we're celebrating love. So, but they did that with quite a few different holidays, and it was a very insidious way of converting pagans to Christianity, because it wasn't overt, it wasn't by the sword, it wasn't we're going to burn you to death if you don't commit to being a Christian. It was very much kind of sneaking in the side door and converting people without them realizing that they were being converted. So originally St. Valentine's Day was just to celebrate St. Valentine. It wasn't to celebrate love. During the Middle Ages, though, it is believed in France and England that February 14th was the beginning of birds' mating season, which added to the idea that the middle of Valentine's Day should also be a day for romance. So Chaucer, who's a fascinating lad, Geoffrey Chaucer, was the first to record St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his 1375 poem, Parliament of Fools, or Fowls. And the quote, "For this was sent on Valentine's Day, what every fowl cometh to her come there to choose his mate." Old English, sorry guys. End quote. Valentine greetings are popular as far back as the Middle Ages, though the written Valentines didn't start appearing until after the 1400s. The oldest known Valentine still in existence today was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London following his capture at the Battle of Agincourt. The greeting is now part of the manuscript collection at the British Library in London. Several years later, it's believed that King Henry V hired a writer named John Lydgate to compose a Valentine note to Catherine of Valois. So who's Cupid? So Cupid is often portrayed on Valentine's Day cards as a naked cherub launching arrows at unsuspecting lovers. But the Roman god Cupid has his roots in Greek mythology, as the Greek god of love, Eros. Accounts of his birth vary. Some say he's the son of Nyx and Erebus, others of Aphrodite and Ares, and still others say that he's the son of Iris and Zephyrus, or even Aphrodite and Zeus, which would make Zeus both his father and his grandfather. But then, the pagan deities were quite, or the Greek and Roman deities, I should say, were quite convoluted in their relationships. Yeah. And according to Greek archaic poets, Eros was a handsome immortal, he played with the emotions of both gods and men, using his arrows to incite love and leaden ones to sow aversion. It wasn't until the Hellenistic period that he began to be portrayed as the mischievous, chubby child that he is now on Valentine's Day cards. In addition to the U.S., Valentine's Day is celebrated in Canada, Mexico, the U.K., France, and Australia. In Great Britain, Valentine's Day it began to be quite popularly celebrated around the 17th century. and by the middle of the 18th century, it was common for friends and lovers of all social classes to exchange small tokens of affection or handwritten notes. And by the 1900s, printed cards began to replace the written letters due to improvements in printing technology. Ready-made cards were an easy way for people to express their emotions at a time when direct expression of one's feelings was discouraged. Also, cheaper postage rates also contribute to an increase in the popularity of sending Valentine's Day greetings. Americans probably began exchanging handmade valentines in the early 1700s, and in the 1840s, Esther A. Howland began selling the first mass-produced valentines in America. Howland, known as the mother of the Valentine, made elaborate creations with real lace ribbons and colorful pictures known as scrap, hence scrapbooking. Today, according to the Greeting Card Association, an estimated 145 million Valentine's Day cards are sent each year, making Valentine's Day the second largest card-sending holiday of the year. It's beat out only by Christmas. So there's an example of a Victorian-era Valentine's. As to my Valentine, 'tis a lemon that I hand you, and I bid you now skidoo, because I love another, and there is no chance for you. So is that an anti-Valentine? So the Victorians were kind of an odd bunch. There's just no other way to put it. I'll have a link to this particular article in the show notes, of course. So, Cupid, who is he? So, today, Cupid is often associated with, well, the little cherubic, the chubby fat kid with the bow and arrow running around in a diaper, which, I gotta tell you, it really doesn't make me feel love. But I'm gonna stop there. We're gonna pick up with Cupid after the break because, hey, you know what? It's break time already. Can you believe that? It's been half an hour already. Just screaming by. I tell you, the time flies when we're having fun. We'll talk more about the gods too. So we'll be right back.
Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be the spell forever.
Songs of love and love of
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Just double check the microphone, make sure I wasn't missing something, because, yeah, at least one of the issues we had last night was 100% operator error. Shocker, right? I always forget to turn on the microphone. And we had some other issues too, but yeah, some of those were 100% me. And you know what? I have zero issues admitting that, occasionally I am the screw up, because you know what? I'm human. I make mistakes. And I'm okay with that. Because if I didn't make mistakes, would I really be learning? And honestly, I feel that answer would be no. I wouldn't really be learning. I'd just be kind of coasting along. And coasting is fun, but sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned challenge. So, we are talking about Cupid and the love deities. Because, yes, there's quite a few of them, honestly. And they're from all walks of pagan history, of course. So, starting with Cupid, though, because that's where we're at. Eros, or Cupid, is the same person, same individual, because Cupid is known to the Greeks as the god Eros. He was quite handsome, and Hesiod, who was one of the first authors to really talk about Eros in about 700 BC. So he described him as a theogony, or one of the primeval cosmogonic deities born of the world egg. Later accounts, of course, do talk about the lineage of Eros, either, like I mentioned earlier, the son of Nyx and Erebus, or Aphrodite and Ares, Iris and Zephyrus, or Aphrodite and Zeus, because sure, why not? Could have been just kind of a hodgepodge of all of them. Sure. So he had a quiver full of arrows, both golden arrows and lead arrows. Now, the gold arrows would arouse desire, not love, because Eros isn't the god of love. He was the god of desire, but because he's a tricksy kind of god. The lead arrows were there to ignite aversion. So if he was feeling tricksy, he would, instead of igniting passion, he would shoot a couple with the lead arrows, and maybe they were passionately in love beforehand, but suddenly they couldn't stand each other. And so supposedly Cupid, or Eros, shot a golden arrow at Apollo, who fell madly in love with Daphne, but shot Daphne with a lead arrow so she wouldn't like Apollo. And of course there was all sorts of things watched out from there. And then supposedly in a different story, Cupid's mother, Aphrodite or Venus, depending on whom you're speaking with, became very, very jealous of Psyche, who's a mortal, and she told her son to induce Psyche to fall in love with a monster. Instead, Cupid himself became so enamored with Psyche that he married her, but on the condition that she couldn't ever actually see his face. Eventually, Psyche's curiosity got the better of her, and she stole a glance, which caused Eros to flee in anger. And then after roaming the world in search of her lover, Psyche was eventually reunited with Cupid, or Eros, and granted the gift of immortality. In the archaic period, there was some poetry where Eros was represented as a studly immortal who was irresistible to both men and gods. And by the Hellenistic period, he is portrayed as more of a playful, mischievous child. And because of his associations with lust more than love, 19th century Victorians credited him with popularizing Valentine's Day, and then giving the day the romantic spin, and that's where the cherubic version of Cupid on Valentine's Day card became a trend. Now, part of it, I think, in my opinion, is that the reason why Cupid was illustrated as a cherubic baby, just a chunky little child, was because he was more innocent and less studly, if you will, than Eros. And so it was easier for the Christian-going folk or church-going folk to accept, and it was easier for the church to say, yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's just a baby. That's not a danger to anybody. And, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems to work so far. But, yeah, there's quite a bit of insanity around Cupid because the gods can be quite fickle in nature. They can be shiny, happy people, and they can be angry, vicious people. And that mood can switch just in the blink of an eye. And so with Eros, yeah, sometimes he would want to light the candle and let the fuse burn and see what happened. And other times, maybe he was having a bad day and he'd shut you down. So it's one of those deities that if you're going to work with Eros, you really need to know what you're offering and what you're trying to accomplish. Because if you're trying to attract someone and you're trying to work with Eros, you want to make sure you've got the right offering, yes. But because you don't want to say, hey, the target of my affection, I really want this target, yes, yes, yes. And if you have the wrong offering, instead of a yes, you get a no. And you get the lead arrow instead of the golden one. So, yes, be careful. Oh, yeah, some of the deities are not fickle. I mean, they're just like who they are. Pretty straightforward. But also, even then, sometimes they can be a little moody. So other deities that have to do with love and marriage even, Aphrodite herself. She was Greek. So she was the Greek goddess of love and sexuality. She's pretty serious about it. She was eventually married to Hephaestus, who had quite a few lovers. One of her favorites, of course, was the warrior god Ares. So used to be a festival that honored Aphrodite, called Aphrodisiac. You might recognize that. At her temple in Corinth, revelers would pay a tribute to Aphrodite by having rambunctious sex with her priestesses. The temple was later destroyed by the Romans and not rebuilt, but fertility rites appear to have continued in the area. Like many gods, Aphrodite spent a lot of time meddling in the lives of humans, particularly in their love lives, and was instrumental in the cause of the Trojan War. So, yeah, aphrodisiac, yeah, that's kind of funny. Rambunctious sex. So apparently that's where, yeah. Yeah, she was kind of a lusty wench. So Cupid was the Roman version of Eros, lust and desire. And then Eros himself was more Greek rather than Roman. Lust and passion rather than just desire. Frigga is a Norse deity. She was the wife of the all-powerful Odin and was considered a goddess of fertility and marriage within the Norse pantheon. Frigga is the only one besides Odin who is allowed to sit on a throne, and she's known in some Norse tales as the Queen of Heaven. Today, many modern Norse pagans honor Frigga as both the goddess of marriage and prophecy. Let's see. Hathor is Egyptian. So Hathor was the wife of the sun god Ra, and Hathor is known in Egyptian legend as the patroness of wives. In most classical descriptions, she's portrayed as a cow goddess, or with a cow nearby. It is her role as a mother that is most often seen. However, in later periods, she was also associated with fertility, love, and passion. Hera, who is Greek. So Hera was the Greek goddess of marriage, and as the wife of Zeus, Hera was the queen of all wives. Although Hera fell in love with Zeus, who's also her brother, immediately he isn't often faithful to her, so Hera spends a lot of time fighting off her husband's numerous lovers. Yeah, Zeus was kind of, he was a wayward child, yeah. He spent a lot of time drinking from many wells. Hera is centered around the hearth and home and focuses on family relationships. Like Aphrodite, Hera played a crucial role in the story of the Trojan War. When she was slighted by the Trojan prince Paris, she decided that she had to pay him back. And so she did everything in her power to see Troy destroyed during the war. Lucky says, Zeus was a player. Oh yes, Zeus was definitely one of those players. Yeah, and Hera was often quite angry about all those different, plays? Yes. So Juno is a Roman deity, and in ancient Rome, Juno was the goddess who watched over women and marriage. Although Juno's festival Matronalia was actually celebrated in March, the month of June was named for her. It is a month for weddings and hand fastings, so she is often honored at Letha at the time of the summer solstice. During Matronalia, women received gifts from their husbands and daughters and gave their female slaves the day off of work. Parvati, who is Hindu. Parvati was the consort of the Hindu god Shiva and is known as the goddess of love and devotion. She is one of the many forms of Shakti, the all-powerful female force in the universe. Her union with Shiva taught him to embrace pleasure. And so in addition to being a destroyer god, Shiva is also a patron of the arts and dance. Parvati is an example of a female entity who has a profound effect on the male in her life, for without her, Shiva would not have been complete. Venus, who is Roman. So Venus is the Roman equivalent of Aphrodite, and Venus was the goddess of love and beauty. Originally, she is associated with gardens and fruitfulness, but later she took on all the aspects of Aphrodite from the Greek traditions. Similar to Aphrodite, Venus took a number of lovers, both mortal and divine. Venus is almost always portrayed as young and lovely. The statue Aphrodite of Milos, better known as the Venus de Milo, depicts the goddess as classically beautiful with womanly curves and a very knowing smile.
Sounds good to me.
Dawn found a computer. Let's see. Next is Vesta, who is Roman. Although Vesta was actually a goddess of virginity, she was a virgin, represented the purity and honor of Roman women at the time of their marriage. And so it was important to keep her in very high regard. In addition to her role as a virgin-in-chief, I know, right? Vesta is also a guardian of the hearth and domesticity. Her eternal flame burned in many Roman villages. Her festival, the Vestalia, was celebrated each year in June. So a lot of these deities have festivals in June. You can't help but wonder if that's part of the reason why there's so many June weddings.
Yes.
And Don says yes. You guys can't hear him. Maybe you can hear him. Lilith, yes. So Lilith... Downtown chocolate. Lilith, just, let's see, who is she? We'll tell you about who she is in just a moment. I gotta find my sheet. Oop, wrong button. Stop. It never fails. Someone says something, it's like, ooh, want to talk about it. Let's see. Is it going to show up here? Staring at the computer. What's going to happen? So, Lilith is a goddess that is quite shrouded in mystery. She is quite demonized. And according to Jewish tradition, she guided women on their paths to becoming very powerful women, and also witches for quite a few centuries. In some places, she's described as a demon. Okay, stop and think about it. So supposedly, she was Adam's first wife in the story of Adam and Eve. And she didn't really like that she was supposed to be second to Adam, and she wanted to be equal, roughly. And so since she didn't want to be second, if you will, she was kind of kicked out because she was disobedient. And she was banished, and she was actually very, very powerful. And as a result of her being banished, of course, it took the feminine from being equal in Christianity and Judaism to being second. And so there's also, not just Eve's hereditary guilt, of course, but the matriarchal belief system was, kind of turned upside down. And supposedly Lilith and Eve were sisters as well, and they're defined as two sides of the same coin because of feminine empowerment and restraint. So Lilith is often kind of the nonconformist and an icon for the downtrodden. And so yes, talking about Lilith, she demonized because she didn't fit the mold, if you will, that Christianity and Judaism wanted. And I wish there was more written about her. I wish there was more information other than how she was such a bad person. Because if you think about it, if she's kicked out of Eden and spurned by God, she's probably pretty angry. And as the she was the older sister to Eve, and as the first woman out there, I betcha if she was angry, she just let it fly. She had not been told that she couldn't be angry about things. So, if you've ever been around a angry without remorse woman, yeah, there's I could totally understand why they might call her a demon, because she's probably very demon-like in her anger. And she probably had some power to her, so she could just do things that, a lot of folks can't do today. And, yeah. Anyways, she wasn't necessarily a love deity, but one more of empowerment. And so, empowerment. And this isn't just for the ladies, this is for the guys too. Empowerment's a big deal. I will define it. Define empowerment, as Don chuckles. So, empowerment is a noun, according to the Oxford Dictionary of Languages. It is the authority or power given to someone to do something. It is also the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. So, if you've been empowered, or you're becoming empowered, you are becoming stronger and more confident. You're taking control of your life. Heaven forbid you take control of your life and you do the things that you need to do. Oh my goodness. Sometimes that is putting yourself first. And in putting yourself first, you're showing love of self. Now, often in our society today, we are taught that loving oneself isn't good enough. It's not necessarily. Yeah, and sometimes it's bad, but it's not good enough. You have to give of yourself. You have to put yourself out there. You have to sacrifice self to help others. I mean, shoot, a lot of Christianity itself talks about sacrificing yourself and giving away your own things to those less fortunate and to take care of other people, to the point where you become the pauper. And why on earth would you do that? I mean, yes, I believe 100% in helping others and helping other people find success, but I don't agree with doing it to the point where I am crippled or I am handicapped. I mean, why is taking care of somebody else more important than taking care of myself? Now, family is different than a stranger, of course. But again, I'm not going to sacrifice myself in the name of my family, generally speaking, depending on what it is. What are we pointing at? Oh, Don has 3 cents.
Yes, I do. I just want everybody to remember, it's okay to love your neighbor, just don't get caught.
It's not that kind of party, dear.
Oh, damn it.
Hey, you're eating candy.
Yes, I am.
You should share.
Sure. Whatever you say.
I do say.
Settle down, Lilith.
I'm not Lilith. I'm Paisley. I'm a different color entirely. Yay! The dark chocolate Easter eggs.
No, these are just the regular ones.
Oh, they're awesome.
You know,
Nom, nom.
if you actually read anything in the old, the Jewish Bible, the Talmud, things like that, they talk about how Lilith is actually a demon from the pits of hell. So I wonder when that changed, because if the Christian Bible was, followed in the footsteps of, the Jewish traditions, and then you get that offshoot of Christianity, which is the New Testament. How would it be different from the Old? How would the Old Testament be different from the old writing, the old Jewish, the Jewish and Hebrew belief system? So anyhow.
So Lucky says, I disagree. If Lilith was kicked out of the garden that God made for her and Adam to work in, she was actually freed from slavery. Yes, she was. But she was actually, in being kicked out, she went from, warm and fuzzies, mostly, to having to work harder. And some of those creature comforts that she probably had was lost. And she's probably pretty grouchy about it. She had to start over. I don't know about... It doesn't ever really say how long Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, but...
2 weeks. It was a short vacation. It was a short honeymoon.
Right. Or how long Adam and Lilith were in the Garden of Eden. I'm sure she probably had her favorite things. If you take a woman away from her things and tell her she can't have them anymore, she's going to have a bit of a temper tantrum. Some of us will do it internally, and others will do it externally. And I'm pretty sure she was downright angry. And probably had a really big temper tantrum and probably destroyed things. Because, back then people were different. And that's just all there is to it. So going back to empowerment. Lucky wants to know what warm and fuzzies. Well, supposedly is, Eden, Garden of Eden. They had 0 wants. All they had to do is, eat or feed themselves and do whatever it was they needed to do. But there's a lot of room, I think, between Genesis 1 and Genesis 2.
There's a huge amount of room.
And not many people talk about that one. So we're going to digress into biblical studies here shortly if we aren't careful. I don't have enough chocolate for that. Anyways, so empowerment.
It's actually break time.
Yeah, another minute.
Okay.
A lot of people see the approach of Valentine's Day as one, as a cause for depression and sadness because they are not connected with a significant other. And commercially, yeah, we're supposed to, be wanting that significant other so we can shower them with love and affection. But you know what? I don't think that's the thing. But you know what? We're going to break. We're going to do singing bowl when we come back, and let's see if I can remember my thought for more than 3 minutes. We'll be right back, guys. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Well, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. It's frustrating. I always expect to hear some sort of more something right there. Let's see. All right, so singing bowl time. Love my bowl. That's self-love right there. Singing bowl as it is. I mean, seriously, think about it. My singing bowl makes me feel good. So of course I'm going to use the singing bowl. So before the break, we were talking about empowerment. There's a huge commercial movement with Valentine's Day in the U.S. today. And it's unfortunate, and I saw significant evidence of it today at work. It was so busy in a crazy sort of way. And it's not so much that you shouldn't buy cards and stuff for folks on Valentine's Day. It's more you should do it when you have the urge rather than feeling like you're forced to do it on a specific holiday. It's a faux holiday. And it's because, and to me, it's because we're being told to celebrate a thing that's just, again, overly commercialized. I feel like we stumble from one commercial holiday to the next. Christmas to first of the year, New Year's Eve, to Valentine's Day, to St. Patty's Day, to Easter, to Mother's Day and Father's Day and 4th of July. And yeah, it's it's an artificial way or an inflated way to make more money. So people are told, hey, if you really love your significant other, you're going to buy them something for Valentine's Day. Sometimes it's chocolate, sometimes it's a card, or it's flowers, or it's jewelry. And I wouldn't be surprised if the diamond industry isn't behind some of the commercialization, because yes, they want to sell more diamonds.
No.
Well, diamonds.
De Beers wants to sell diamonds? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Something like that, yeah. Hey, look, there's Dawn. And, it's not saying you shouldn't celebrate the holidays and celebrate the love that you have of your fellow man or woman or whatever. But, you don't have to drop, hundreds of dollars to say, hey, don't forget I like you. Or, hey, I love you, or something like that. But also, you shouldn't be afraid to do that same kind of thing for yourself. Send yourself flowers. Why not? I mean, if you really like flowers, go buy them yourself. Pick them out yourself. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You like chocolate? Invest in some chocolate. There's nothing wrong with that either. You like jewelry? Buy yourself the jewelry. You want a card? Well, get a card and send it to yourself. Or there's other ways you can, give yourself positive affirmations. There's, books you can buy that have positive affirmations or statements. There's cards you can get. There's, all sorts of different things that you just, a word a day calendar. I mean, it says, hey, yes, I like me. What are you chuckling about?
I just had this thought of a calendar go through my head. Or a book.
Is it a Bigfoot calendar?
No. I was just thinking of the calendar. A calendar that says, or a book that says, I'm okay, but you're a dink.
That's funny. You're a dink. Yeah. Kind of opposite of I'm okay, you're okay. Yeah, if you're worried about, spending time alone, you really shouldn't be. Yes, it's more fun to share things with someone else. Absolutely. I get it. Yes, it is. But also, you need to remember how to love yourself. So not just love of others, but love of self. So if that means you take yourself out to dinner once in a while, do it. Treat yourself to a movie. Yeah, why not? Right now, nobody knows that you're going to the movies alone because you're probably doing it in your living room, in your pajamas, with your own microwave popcorn, which is more affordable anyways than going to the movie theater. And you didn't have to drive.
Guy walks into a bar, orders 2 beers, drinks one, dumps on his hand, one on his hand.
I guess Don likes to sleep on the couch. Not sure where Don's going, but yeah. Hey, Naysay. And yeah. Okay, Naysay says, I hope that you're finding that perfect gift. Oh, my stars. And just like that, I got flowers. I guess someone's not sleeping on the couch. Aw.
Something about perfect gift? What?
Okay, I love roses.
All right, there you go.
Thank you. Apparently they're from the cat because there's no name on the card. Wow, that's a heavy bag.
Yeah, it's a heavy bag.
Goodness. Okay, stay. And now I have to put it somewhere where the cat can't eat it. Because cats, yes. So Naysay says, yeah, hope you can find that perfect gift to make up for the horrible one that you got them for your loved one for Christmas. Yeah, because sometimes we buy the bad gift, and it happens. It's okay.
The tie, the vacuum, you know. We've all been there.
Okay, I asked for a Roomba for Christmas. Did I get a Roomba for Christmas? No, I did not.
You know why? Because I would have to dress the cat up as an alien. And put her on top of it.
So? And?
It's just, and I'd have to take videos of it.
Okay, I'm still waiting for the problem here. Are you kidding? Yes, I would love a Roomba. So yes, I asked for a vacuum for Christmas. Did I get one? No. I did not.
She got pots and pans and sandwich making stuff.
No, I did not. Lucky says you need help.
Thank you.
And Don got the Sword of Doom for Christmas. So, naysay. Yeah, you know, you can love yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And you should. If you are wondering why you're having a hard time finding a good relationship, perhaps it's because you haven't truly accepted yourself. Because, you know, that's something that we often have a hard time doing. We often look in the mirror and it's like, you know, I wish I'd had this, or my nose isn't good enough, my chin isn't good enough. Oh, look, I've got a bald spot and that's frustrating.
That's why I wear a beanie.
Or, you know, I really need to lose some weight. Or, oh, you know, this just, you know, there's always something, right? Whatever it is.
Lucky says, so you guys got each other occupational equipment.
Yeah, I got tarot cards. Or oracle cards, excuse me. I got the Moonology oracle deck. Along with the Moonology book. Oh, it's backwards. Yeah, Moonology. It's a good book. I've been kind of going through it slowly. I just forgot to move my bookmark. And then, yeah, and the deck. Love the deck. So, you know, yeah, occupational gifts. That's kind of funny. Occupational equipment. I might have a house I have to go cleanse here in the next week or two. We'll see. So, when it comes to trying to find a good relationship, one that, you know, your significant other treats you the way you want to be treated, rather than the way they want to treat you, because that can often be very, very different. Very different. You have to be someone who fits that relationship. So if you were looking for a certain type of individual, someone who is responsible or understands the realities of life, is not a Democrat or is not a Republican or is not a libertarian or whatever, or is of a particular religion or spiritual persuasion, you have to be that kind of person to attract that kind of person. So, yeah, if you want to, for instance, attract a devout Christian significant other, you yourself have to be a devout Christian individual. Oddly enough, when Don and I met, I was more of a Republican. Now I'm just a conservative independent. Don was a Democrat. It was a really funny day when he sat up on the couch one time. He's like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "What?" Because he did it like it was like the world was coming to an end. And it's like, "What? What's wrong?" He's like, "I'm a Republican." It was hilarious. So, sometimes as relationships age, we change and our interests change and our realities or perceptions of reality change. Since then, I think Don's more of a independent conservative also. It's probably more accurate. But, originally, neither of us were on the pagan path quite like we are now. Don's more of an Odinist. Yeah? Is that what it is? More of an Odinist? Yeah. Not Asatru, but Odinist. Two entirely different things. So, that's just an illustration of, the way we've changed over the years. Once upon a time, I even tried really, really hard to be so Christian that I taught Sunday school. Can you imagine that? Me teaching Sunday school. It didn't go very well because the pastor didn't like some of the opinions I had on Facebook. Oops. Oh well. So anyways, back to empowerment. You need to be you. You do you, boo. And you need to find someone who will accept you as you are without trying to change you. Because if you meet someone and they're like, "Oh, you're awesome. I wish you would just do this." Or, "Hey, maybe you could wear this outfit." Although I did ask Don if we could buy a shirt for him to wear once in a while out in public. Not...
It's a black polo. It's even got a collar and 3 buttons on it.
I gave it to you.
What's your point? It doesn't matter how I got it. I've got it.
Anyways, I asked for him if he'd ever wear a shirt that wasn't a band tee that had something to do with death metal. Yeah, because, once in a while, I would like to go out to dinner with a grown-up not wearing a band tee. The beanie's okay.
The beanie's okay, but the band tees are not.
So, it's just a little thing. Maybe just wear a different shirt. It's clean. That's all that really matters, right? No holes.
All my shirts are clean.
No holes.
I don't wear dirty shirts.
No, but occasionally they're stained. Continue. So,
they're not stained. They're lovingly colored.
With bacon grease. So, what I'm saying is, don't try to change your partner, because that's not going to work. You need to accept your partner for who they are. Otherwise, it'll just create hardship and frustration in a relationship, and it'll be bad. So, not that I'm trying to give out relationship advice, because that's not my job. But, not just accept your partner for who they are, but accept yourself for who you are. So, for those of you, my dears, who are still in the broom closet, the pagan pantry, it's okay. Accept yourself as you are. And for some of you, it is safer, physically safer for you to stay in the broom closet or in the pagan pantry, because your family just won't accept you as you are. And I get it. That's why so many people with alternate or other romantic persuasions, such as the gay and lesbian group, really don't want to tell their family because they know their family won't accept them as they are. And that's really unfortunate. So they hide that part of themselves for an unknown number of years. And they reject that part of themselves, and they have a hard time with relationships later. And it requires often therapy and also shadow work to get past that and to let go of those things that have dragged them down and have wounded them so deeply, to shut that part of themselves away. Lucky says, or not Lucky, Naysay says, change is inevitable. It's when we change apart from each other that it gets challenging. Yeah. So that's part of the reason why long distance relationships have a hard time succeeding. Is because you guys change at different rates. So, but yeah, when it comes to empowerment, empower yourself to accept yourself just as you are. So if that means you go and you get the Valentine's Day chocolate the day after Valentine's Day because it's more affordable, and I get it. I really do. Then do it and treat yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Nightshade says offering a reason to change does wonders, even if it's in the gentlest of way. Yeah. It's like, hey, yeah, I want to be seen with a grown-up. As I dye my hair blue and red. I don't know who's the more grown-up here. But, anyways, empowerment. Empower yourself to accept yourself. Yeah, what do you think, Don? You weren't listening, were you?
Not really.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Got caught.
Mm-hmm. You're grounded.
Okay.
Although I've been pre-bribed with flowers, so I don't know how long you're grounded.
Okay, whatever.
Pre-bribed. What are you doing?
I'm actually shopping for microphones to replace the one you mysteriously disapparated.
It's not my fault the gremlins stole it. I am currently accepting applications for a house elf that won't lose the studio equipment. Just saying. Yeah. Empower yourself to accept you as you are. It'll make it easier for you to have a relationship with someone else.
Well, and it gets rid of that baggage, too,
Yeah. Absolutely. Because, if you can't accept yourself as you are, it's really, really hard to set down some of that baggage that your family often inadvertently gives to you. And we all have some family baggage. Growing up, I have 2 younger sisters, right? So my baby sister was always the cute one. And she's quite petite and was the cheerleader. My middle sister was the smart one because she is. And then I was the one who got things done. And so because my baby sister was the cute one, that was never really applied, or physical appearance compliments were rarely applied to my middle sister or myself. And because my middle sister was the smart one, my baby sister was never expected to achieve the same level of education or accomplishment in academics. And I was just expected to continue to get stuff done, often physical rather than mental. So I was the one out building fences and changing tires and wrestling the cows and butchering the chickens because that's what I did. And that's all that was expected. So it's frustrating, those baggage things that our families place upon us, often inadvertently, not intentionally, although sometimes it is intentional. It depends on the family. We have to learn how to set that baggage down and accept who we are as we are. It's not an easy process, unfortunately, and it can take time. So once you do, though, you feel lighter. You feel more empowered to just be you. And once you can just be you, it's easier for others to accept you as you are. Since being more pagan in our community here, yes, Justin, I'm the oldest. Then acknowledging that and doing the show here and everything, wow, I feel empowered. I feel lighter. I feel less burdened by insisting that I try to be someone I'm not to my family. Honestly, they would rather have me be, atheist than pagan, I think.
I would agree.
For many of them. Yeah, probably. And it's interesting how our family dynamic impacts who we are so much.
Well, that's like you mentioned, I was brought up to be a progressive, liberal, Democrat. Give. Don't, honestly, don't take care of you. Don't take care of your family. Take care of everybody else. Scream as loud as you can if you don't get your way. And for me, it just wasn't right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, give, and take at the same time. It's
Right.
very bizarre place mentally, yes. So once we figure out how to set down that baggage that our family gives us, because it's not ours, it is their opinion of us, it is their viewpoint, it is their baggage that they are trying to get you to take on, it's not yours. Set it down and walk away. And if you have to do a cord cutting ceremony to separate yourself from that baggage, do it.
I have the bullshit cutter.
The bullshit cutter, yeah. If you need a BS knife, I can recommend one. You can do a physical representation. I mean, honestly, you can go to any thrift store and you can get a suitcase, and you could just write a couple of notes to yourself, like, this is my parents' baggage, this is my grandparents' baggage, this is my siblings' baggage, whatever. Put all those notes inside the suitcase and throw it on a bonfire and let that stuff go, Elsa. There's no reason to carry it around any longer. That's not your burden to carry. You're not a mule. You're not a pack horse. You don't need to carry that stuff. And you can be a caring and protective person of others, similar to Justin's wife. But you also need to be a caring and protective person of self, of who you are, both emotionally and mentally. And that's, once you've accepted yourself and you're able to, willing to protect yourself, it's a lot easier to set some of those mental boundaries that protect you from other people's emotions. So if you're an empath, learning how to accept yourself means that you can build a stronger barrier to prevent yourself from soaking up other people's emotions and their baggage. Because, who wants to carry that? Can you imagine some of the famous people out there if you had to carry their baggage? Why would you want to do that? I'm just using that as an example. You see all these marriages that come and go, or relationships that come and go on in the Hollywood world. And if you wouldn't want to carry that, why would you want to carry anybody else's? I mean, it's not yours to carry. It's not really a good analogy. I was going somewhere with it and I lost it, but that's okay. But basically, you don't want to carry somebody else's baggage, no matter how pretty it is. It may say Louis Vuitton, but you don't need it. So set it down, walk away, find something else. Pick up some rocks instead if you need to have something in your hands. I recommend quartz and selenite and tourmaline. So, yes. Let it go. I talk about carrying other people's baggage a lot. Maybe that's something I personally need to work on, because I'm probably still carrying somebody else's baggage. There's no probably. I know I am. Because, yes. Yeah. Like Linda says, you have to be able to tell other people no. And no is an okay word. Don't overcommit yourself, because that's really easy to do, especially if you like to help other people. In our world today, you know what? It's a lot easier to say no. It's like, sorry, I left my mask at home. I can't help you do that. Is it a cop-out a little bit? Sure. But it's real. Like family gatherings, we don't have those right now because, well, I don't want to deal with all the baggage and stuff. And, well, right now we're not supposed to have family gatherings and stuff. So, in a way, it just works out just fine. Yeah. Chris Jarvis says he carries apples instead of stones. I'm telling you, a little selenite and tourmaline goes a long way. It really, truly does. If you really need to carry something, find something else, something that's going to be good for you. How to garden, how to do underwater basket weaving, how to, or what rocks to collect, herbology.
How to pronounce Diagon Alley.
Exactly. Find something, you know, that's going to be better for you than carrying somebody else's baggage. Anyways, last break of the evening. When we come back, lots to talk about. See you in a bit.
Lord within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever done. Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me, the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Oh, goodness. So, I wanted to finish the show with something fun and interesting. So I was like, hey, are there, signs or something that talks about the deities that, hey, they want you to work with them or that kind of thing, or whatever. And so as I'm looking, the things that pop up is like, hey, 5 things that God will, show you that someone truly loves you, or 5 things that tell you that God wants you to be with someone. It's like, really? That's just crazy. And then the next right there with that was, is it a sign interpreting messages from your deities, or are you misinterpreting them from the deities? And so I get to think, let's stick with that one. Is it a sign? Or do we want relationships with deities? I don't know. It's kind of a good thing both sides. The reason why I'm kind of thinking about this kind of stuff is often, and I'm asked this quite often actually, and it's a topic that comes up rather often, is how do I know if I should work with a deity, or am I working with a deity, or who do I talk to? Well, honestly, a lot of that power and that energy comes from within. We don't need to work with a deity to have a spell or ritual work. We really don't. The energy is all around us. Okay, time out. Lewis, there's a lot of white noise because there's some heaters going because there's some frozen pipes in the world. And we're trying to get them to thaw because water's important. Anyways, back to the deities. Can you make a petition, if you will, to request the help from a deity? Yes, absolutely you can. What do you think a prayer is? A prayer is just a petition. Just like you're asking for a thing. Just if you're going to petition a deity, you need to make sure that you are also leaving an offering or saying, hey, thanks, I'm going to do this. Here's this gift. I'm looking for your favor to help me do this thing. That's basically what the petition is. Now, if you aren't going to do that, well, you're kind of missing out on part of the relationship there, because relationships have give and take regardless of who they're with. And you should remember that, because yes, no matter who it is with, give and take. Even your cat or your dog or your fish, you have to give them something. If it's your fish, you have to make sure they have clean water, there's some oxygen in the water, either with plants or a bubbler or whatever, and you have to feed them regularly. Same with dogs and cats, you got to feed them, water them, that kind of thing. Clean up after them, make sure they got a place to go to use the bathroom, that kind of thing. In exchange, dogs will love you unconditionally, and cats will tell you you're worthless, because that's what cats do. No, cats will love you their own way and expect you to keep taking care of them. It's just those little things that pets require. But it's a give and take relationship, and people are very, very similar. If you want a relationship with someone else, whether it's a friendship or a romantic one, you have to be willing to give that much of yourself to the relationship also. Same with deities. If you're trying to petition a deity to do this favor, whatever it is, you have to also do your part. That's why often people will work with one specific deity. And that's because you're developing a relationship with that deity. You talk to them, you work with them, you offer them things like an offering of some sort. You petition them for favors or for help, and it's just this back and forth, give and take relationship. Like he says, yeah, but the cats will sleep near part of your body where you need healing. Yes, the cats will do that. Justin says cats are like dogs. Okay. Sometimes, yeah, the pets will take care of you too. Sometimes the goats will just sleep on top of your car. Oh, very cool. Vlash met some cats that did what she asked through her thoughts. That was very cool. Often cats ignore us when we ask them to do things because, well, they're cats and they're quite independent and they remember that they were once upon worshipped as gods. They don't really, they don't let go of that. They have a little bit of pride still. Okay, a lot of pride. But the relationship thing still stands, you know. It's the give and take. If you want a romantic relationship, you have to be prepared to open yourself up enough to someone for them to get to know you, to share that kind of a relationship and trust and emotion. If you're not willing to do that much and meet that person part way, well, it's going to be really hard to have a relationship. In friendship, if you expect someone else to be there for you in your times of need or to help you do things, well, you know what? You got to be willing to be there to help them too. Now, personally, I have a hard time being a friend to anybody because I love to have friends, but friends require
exhausting.
Friends require time and energy and a commitment that I don't always have the energy for. And I admit that. So for my friends that are listening, I'm sorry. I didn't forget about you. I love you. And I promise I'll make it up to you. I just don't know when. And yes, you can call me anytime. So it can be hard. And even honestly, for my own parents, I have to remember to call them periodically. I forget to. Seriously, I have a hard time with that one. It's not because I don't want to talk to them. It's just because I get involved in my own life, and that's something we all do. So if you're worried about the connection you have with your family members, because you don't call them very often, or they don't call you, remember the phone does go both ways. It's okay to call them more often than they call you. And if you have to set a timer or a reminder in your calendar, do it. It's okay. It's a little thing. And some family members prefer cards or letters, like especially the older folks, because it shows that you've put some time and energy into it, more so than making the phone call. And so remember that as well. You know, that's the needs of the person on the other end of the relationship. And that's the other thing. If you're in a relationship, you need to remember the other person does have needs. You might not understand them. And it's really honest, you might not. And that's okay. You don't have to understand the needs of the other person. It's just their needs, you know? Just like you have your own needs, and the other person might not understand those. They're yours. It's okay to not understand the other person's needs. You do need to at least help them meet those needs, though, or help them put those to rest so they no longer be our needs and they're more wants, or they're resolved and they're not an issue anymore. And if it's a big enough issue, therapy's okay, guys. I am so frustrated when I suggest therapy to someone and they're like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't see a shrink. I can't talk to a stranger like that. It's like, dude, you've known me for 45 minutes. Go see a therapist.
We just met on this plane.
Right?
You're a psycho.
I've known you for all of 2 aisles in the grocery store. It's time for you to go see a therapist. You may have to pay for it, but trust me, it's worth your time. And it's, you know, therapy like that, honestly, it shouldn't have the negative stigma that it does, because mental health is just as important as physical health, if not more so. If your mental health is out of alignment, it can cause physical health issues. And physical health issues can absolutely cause mental health issues. Do you know why? It's because it's all the same dang body. It's not 2 different bodies. You're all one person. Just like dental health, mental health, and physical health. They're all very important. It's all you. You're a package deal. Get your health checked out. Love yourself enough to go to the doctor once in a while. And my dad, is one of those old farmer types. Only goes to the doctor if he's really, really, really sick or really, really, really in pain. So he had to have his hip replaced a number of years ago. And he waited and waited and waited because, oh no, it just hurts and I'll just do this and that. And it's just, so he started off walking with, kind of shuffling along like it hurt. And then he moved on to walking with a cane. And then he moved on to walking with a crutch and 2 crutches. And then barely walking at all because it hurts so much. And he finally goes to the doctor and he finds out he has to have all his teeth pulled because, of course, he's never been to the dentist. Well, at least not in the last 30 years. And finally he gets his hip replaced and the doctor says, you know what, this would have healed a lot faster if you had come to see me when it first started hurting. So instead of a 6-week healing time, it was more of a 6-month healing time because he caused himself other damage because, well, he wasn't taking care of himself. So that self-love includes going to the doctor. If your body hurts, and it's a new hurt especially, go to the doctor. If it's not a new hurt and you go to the doctor for a regular checkup, make sure your doctor knows that you have some issues once in a while. It's just that little thing of self-care that we all need to remember. And go to the doctor, get the therapy, do the journaling, drink the water. Not the Kool-Aid, drink the water. 2 different things. I feel like I'm just telling everybody. Yes, seriously. Take care of yourself. It's okay. Self-love. It's real. And when it comes to working with deities, if you feel like one's not giving you the attention you think you need or want, or you're not getting the message from them, okay, maybe you're not. Maybe it's not the deity you're supposed to work with. Because unanswered prayers are so very real. And sometimes those are better than the answered ones. Oh, look, it's an Andromeda. She's really good at the resting biatch face. She does it all the time. I can hear her purring.
Mm-hmm.
Silly kitty. Yeah, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Nobody wants that. Carry the rocks. They're good for you. Drink the water. And the coffee. Because, yes, it's coffee. And you need it. Okay, maybe you don't need it, but I need it.
So far off the subject, though.
I know it is, but it kind of went that direction. We talked about, the love deities and Cupid a bit and Eros a bit. So, okay. Victorian era, they call them vinegar Valentines. Did you know that? Because Victorian era Valentines could be very, very mean. Let's see here. I read the first one. So, one in the 1840s, it said, you may think it fun for Cupid to snub with the hand of a suffragette, but he's cunning and smart. Aye, there's the rub. Revenge is the trap he will set. So basically, saying, no, Cupid, you can't shoot this one. Another one is about women's rights. It's like, while you ladies seem bent on getting ahead as your women's rights fightings declare, we men are believing you'll find out instead that your fussing will all end in air or hair. Such a coifer you offer, no lovers will win. Your head's so well furnished. Basically saying, yeah, you're full of hot air. Here's another one. You've got the vote and think it's your mission to go to the polls like a bum politician. And while you're voting, your husband must roam for something to eat, which he can't find at home. He's getting dyspepsia and can't work for pain. Your children neglected you for you in vain. While you make speeches from a broken soapbox, your family is wearing soiled clothes and torn socks. Wow. You weren't afraid of dropping the...
Get back to work.
Right. It's just, I think they're funny. I'm sorry. And I have a sense of humor that's kind of odd. Yeah, they're called vinegars. Let's see. Another one here is, here's a pretty cool reception. At least she'll say there's no deception. It's as plain as it can say, old fellow, you'd best stop away. Basically, you're too old for me, go away. Which, that could be, that actually was a thing, because they were often in arranged marriages. There was a significant difference in age. Yeah. So Justin asks, do you think love is being suppressed these days and downplayed to pit us against one another?
Well, let's see.
So yes. And a yes, without flinching, because, hatred is being spread via the news. Mainstream media has stopped being the news and is now just opinions. And often the opinion is one group is right and the other group is wrong. And the ones that are wrong are really, really wrong, and they don't deserve the time to be taught another way. And yeah, there's, in a way, stop and look at what's in the news. They don't talk about the happy things. And that's because the negative things sell more, okay? So sure, people are drawn to the negative stuff because people go to the hockey game to see the fight break out, or the fight to see the hockey game break out. They watch NASCAR to wait for the car accidents. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of left turns. So, we look for the negative. We thrive on the negative sometimes, and the anger and the hatred. But at the same time, it makes us less. And so, yeah, a lot of what we're seeing in our society today is not love and acceptance of each other. It is hatred for one another, or non-acceptance of one another. And it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Lucky says Hollywood and the ad agencies are redefining love and twisting it to be materialistic and so utopian that no one can measure up to their standards. And those who abide in that are left despondent. So yeah, if you don't have the storybook romance that you see in the romantic comedies or on TV and that kind of thing, you're left wanting. It's similar to the argument against watching porn. Because there's a school of thought that says that if you learn about sexuality by watching porn, you assume certain things are the way that sex is supposed to be. And people don't realize that even porn itself, a lot of it is dramatized, and there's a lot of makeup, and yes, some of it's real, but it's work to get some of those movies to look the way they do. I mean, it's not real. It's fiction. And so there's the expectation that porn is the way sex really is, and then once the kiddies go out and have sex, they're like, nah, that sucked. Or they think that what they want is what they are seeing on TV. And in reality, maybe they're more vanilla than that. So, or less, depending on how you want to look at it. So, there's definitely been a twist in standards and acceptance, and there's the assumption that what we see on TV or in the movies is the way it is. Denali says thoughts and words are energy. We attract what we think and say, so think positive, and positive is attracted to us. Yeah, if you're going to wallow in the negativity all the time, that's all you're going to see. If you wallow in anger all the time, that's all you're going to have. If you wallow in happiness, you're more likely you're going to be happy. If you wallow in love all the time, you're more likely going to love others and yourself. Nothing wrong with that. Whatever you wallow in, that's probably what you're going to experience. Period. Marie says it's hard because it's easy to think negative and it just comes naturally. Yes, yes, it is. Negativity is our natural state, unfortunately, at least in our society today. If someone says something negative to you, like, oh, you're just a jerk, or, oh, whatever it is, we'll start with, yeah, oh, you're such a jerk. And it's a real negative comment, right? It takes 10 positive comments to equal the same weight as that one negative comment. So, yeah, if you go through your day, for instance, and you start off with 5 rocks in your pocket, one on each side, and every time you say a positive thing, you move a rock from your left pocket to your right pocket. And every time you say a negative thing, you move the rock from your right pocket and put it into your left. Which pocket do you end up with more rocks in at the end of the day? And that'll help you, focus more on saying the positive things than the negative things. It's a physical manifestation of making sure you're giving out positive affirmations rather than wallowing in the negative. And sometimes we need that physical touchstone to remind us that, no, we are looking for the positive. And it is hard. And I know it. And you know what? Sometimes we backslide and we have to go look at the total fails of the people who can't drive, or on YouTube or whatever it is. It happens. The Vlash says that in the kitchen, there's positive and negative rice. Okay. If that's the way, if it helps, then go for it. I just like to carry around a pocket full of rocks, so that's what I use. Nay, you're funny. Lucky says make sure you have the proper amounts of vitamin D before you go into a relationship. Because if your vitamin D is deficient, you're going to have some problems. You're going to be unhappy. And yeah, if you are vitamin D deficient, you're going to have more physical pain and often emotional pain and mental pain, because physical pain causes all sorts of other issues. So, if you're in pain physically, make sure you get the vitamin D test. Make sure you're okay. I, for one, am deficient in vitamin D. And I know my moods are much better when my vitamin D is a little bit more balanced. Really, truly, I'm not quite as grouchy. We're about 2 minutes before the end of the day. So make sure you're taking your vitamin D. We're going to keep that one. Even though it was the last thing here said, it's important. Make sure you get your vitamin D right. Love yourself. Accept yourself. It's a lot easier for you to be in a relationship with someone else, whether it's a romantic one or a friendship one or a work-related relationship or an education-related relationship or, children or spouse. It doesn't really matter. Accepting yourself and loving yourself makes all of those relationships just easier. Just easier. But remember, loving yourself doesn't mean sacrificing others to make it easier to love yourself, because then it'll kind of flip around and eventually you won't love yourself at all, honestly. So pay attention. Therapy's okay. If you need it, go to it. And if you are going to therapy and you're not getting the results you thought you were going to get, you may be at the wrong one. It is okay to fire your therapist and get a different one, just like it's okay to fire your doctor to get a different one. Valentine's Day, is it about love? Now it is, yes. Originally, it was about orgies. So I'm not saying I may bring that back, but love yourself. Love others. And if you wallow and embrace love of self, love of others, and look for the positive in every day, you know what? You're going to find it. You find what you look for. You find the energy that you put out there. So, Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Stop and smell the flowers. I hope you guys have a great day. We will see you next weekend. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So I'm going to have to look into a rice experiment, apparently.
A rice experiment?
Yeah, Vlash talks about it. So merry meet and merry part, everyone, and merry meet again. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Lord within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever does.